Mike Locksley is killing it at Maryland. The Terrapins hadn't had an 8-win season since 2010, but Maryland has now done it in back-to-back seasons with 3 straight bowl victories, and they are now looking to carry that momentum into 2024. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down the Maryland Terrapins. Let's take a look at their schedule and record for this upcoming season. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our exclusive expert picks, some of the best spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. We do not want you to miss out on that. Win big with us here at the Gridiron Expert as a member of our GE Nation. And also check out our exclusive newsletters going out every single week. You can sign up for those over on thegridironexpert.com. Everything down in the description is for you to help you have a fantastic college football season. So Maryland, guys, Mike Locksley has just, again, he's done a phenomenal job with this program. I mean, he's just consistently winning games, making them relevant in the Big Ten, making them relevant in some ways on the national stage. But the thing that has held them back has been the inability to win the big games. The Terrapins still winless, never beaten a ranked Big Ten opponent. They've won 8 games in each of the last 2 years, but they're not beating the top dogs. Last year could have been a very special year, 8-5, but 3 one-possession losses to Illinois, Northwestern, and Michigan. Hung with the Wolverines, couldn't get the job done. Were double-digit favorites against Illinois, Northwestern, fell short. So easily could have been a 9-win regular season for Maryland, but fell just short of that goal. Take a look at the offense and what they've got coming back. They lose the all-time leading passer in program history, one of the best quarterbacks in Big Ten history statistically, Talia Tagovailoa, who threw for over 11,000 yards during his time with the Terrapins, but they do replace him with M.J. Morris, who started 4 games at NC State last year. Not a lot of starting experience, but some with the Power 5 program does have a lot of potential in this offense. They do return Roman Hemby at running back, had over 650 rushing yards last year. They do lose Deshaun Jones at wide receiver, but Ty Felton and Caden Prather are both back. Both had over 600 reception yards and combined for 11 touchdowns. The offensive line only has 21 combined starts up front, but this is a Maryland offensive line that is deep. Got a lot of depth, got a lot of rotations. Should be okay up front. Should be okay with that pass protection. Defensively, that's the strength of the team. Locksley's an offensive guy, and typically the last few years it's been the Maryland offense that's stolen the show. This year it could be the other way around. The defense is the strength of the team right now, especially up front. 8 starters are back, including 4 of their top 6 tacklers, led by Ruben Hippolyte at linebacker. Kellen Wyatt returns after leading the team with 4.5 sacks just last year. The defensive line anchored by Quashon Fuller and Jordan Phillips. This team, guys, has the ability to be one of the best defenses Maryland's had in recent memory, and the funny thing is they weren't even bad last year. Maryland only allowed 22.5 points per game and only 334 yards per game. Those numbers could improve again this year, and do not sleep on the Terrapins secondary. They went out and added first-team MAC selection Jalen Husky from Bowling Green to a big get at cornerback, and he's playing alongside Dante Trader and Glendon Miller, who had 4 interceptions last year. So this Maryland team, solid defensively, think will hit their groove offensively. What can they do with the schedule? Could they make it another 8-win season? Or better yet, could they go for 9? Well, you take a look, I think they start 4-0. I think they'll breeze past UConn. I think they'll breeze past Michigan State in a major rebuilding year under Jonathan Smith. Major questions offensively. Defense might be okay. Maryland won 31-9 last year. I think it's about similar again this year. Then they should beat Virginia rather handily, as long as they don't get off to a slow start. Virginia's going to improve in the ACC. And if you remember last year, the Cavaliers jumped out to a 14-0 lead, and then Maryland scored 42 unanswered and won the game 42-14. Now on the road, Virginia will play better ball, will be more competitive, but I still think Maryland's got too much, especially defensively, to lose this game. So 3-0, and they'll beat Villanova. They're 4-0. At Indiana at the end of September. This Indiana team, guys, is dangerous. They're sneaky good. How, you say? Indiana? No, they were 3-9 last year. They're horrible. It's a different team, new coach, different players. Curt Cignetti comes in, never had a losing season in his collegiate career, in his coaching career. He brings in a lot of veterans. Curtis Rowert coming in from Ohio, another MAC selection. You've got Donovan McCulley returning at wide receiver alongside Elijah Surratt, who had over 1,100 reception yards just last year at James Madison. Solid offensive line, very underrated defense. This Indiana team has the pieces to surprise some people in the Big Ten, surprise some people on the national stage. Not saying they're competing for a playoff spot, but they will surprise, and they will beat Maryland in Bloomington. I like they've got home field advantage here. I think Indiana owns the offensive edge. I think their defense can hold their own against Maryland. Home field advantage, the tiebreaker. Give me the Hoosiers to pull off a mini upset over the Terrapins. They're 4-1, but we'll make them 5-1 coming out of the bye week, as I think they breeze past Northwestern. Yes, they lost the Wildcats last year 33-27, but mistakes were what plagued Maryland. Mistakes are what plagued so many teams that played Northwestern last year. Sometimes because of how good Northwestern's defense was, sometimes just because they were boneheaded mistakes, and it led to Northwestern winning 8 games. The Wildcats had 10 points scored on drives that began in Maryland territory. You take away one of those drives, and Maryland probably wins that game. So they are a better team than Northwestern. They're coming off a week of rest. They're at home. They get their revenge, and they are 5-1. Some say they could be 6-0. I think they're probably going to be favored in the first 6 games. We're going to have them at 5-1, but regardless, it sets up a huge home showdown against USC. So whether they're 5-1, whether they're 6-0, I wouldn't expect anything less than 5-1. USC comes to town for a massive game and an opportunity for maybe Maryland to get their first ranked Big Ten win. They were 0-34 all time against ranked Big Ten opponents, never won. Maybe USC, a top 25 team, fringe top 25 team, could be that first win. But I'm not calling for it. Look at this game. USC, 2,600 miles they're traveling. That does benefit Maryland here. But I like their quarterback play. Miller Moss showed us a lot in that bowl game. And we know with the Lincoln Riley offense, they're going to be firing on all cylinders. Caleb Williams, who? Who are we talking about? He's gone, sure. The offense, I don't think it's going to miss a beat. The defense is what has plagued USC for so many years. Well, now Alex Grinch is gone. They returned 9 starters defensively. They've got a very good defensive coordinator. I'm not saying USC is going to go contend for a Big Ten title or anything like that, but they are going to make the long road trip, and they are going to beat Maryland. Once again, one of those things where I don't trust Maryland against the top dogs right now. They can beat the average to below average teams. Not going to pick them to beat the better teams in the conference, and I believe USC can be one of those. So they fall to the Trojans. They go on the road to Minnesota. I think they lose that game as well. The Golden Gophers, a sneaky team this year, and a team that has a very wide range. They could be a team that finishes with a losing record. They could be a team that finishes with a winning record in the regular season. It's one of those things where, like, 4-8, 5-7, maybe 7-5, 8-4. I don't even know if they can get to 6-6. Like, it's one of those things where they're going to be on one side of the aisle where they're a winning record, or one other side of the aisle where they have a losing record. It's a very high variance team, a weird variance team in Minnesota. But I like their defense. They've got a strong defense, a lot of starters coming back. They should have improved quarterback play. Again, a weird team, but having to go on the road to the Golden Gophers, maybe hung over after a hard-fought loss against USC. I think they fall in that game, come out of the bye week, and definitely lose on the road at Oregon, who is a national title, not just contender, but a national title favorite, maybe has the Heisman favorite in Dillon Gabriel. Give me Oregon to win that game, and that is now 3 straight losses for the Terrapins, and they are, 5-4. 5-4 going into their final 3 games. Got to win one more. Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State, 2 of those are at home. Think the most logical win here is going to be against Rutgers. Most winnable game there is against Rutgers. And I do believe the Terrapins get the job done in that game. They own the Scarlet Knights. And I have a lot of faith in Rutgers this year. I'm very excited about Rutgers football this year. But Maryland has won 7 of the 10 meetings against the Scarlet Knights since they joined the Big Ten. They won 42-24 last year. And I talk about that Maryland front 7 and how good they are and how good they can be. If they can bottle up Kyle Monunga, who's going to be one of the best running backs, not just in the Big Ten, but in the country. He led the Big Ten in rushing yards last year. You bottle him up and force Rutgers to win the game through the air, I'm not entirely sure the Scarlet Knights can do it. So you factor in the fact that Maryland is at home. They own Rutgers. The defense bottles up their best player. I think the Terrapins get the job done. They clinch bowl eligibility. The 4th straight year they will go bowling, 6-4, and that's good they get it there because they're going to lose their next 2. In the month of November, they have to play Oregon, Iowa, and Penn State, 3 of the best teams in this conference, and then a sneaky good Rutgers team. Month of November is brutal, so they're going to have to do the majority of their work in the first 2 months. They get that win against Rutgers, but fall to Iowa. The strength of Iowa's defense is way too much against a Maryland offense that will be fine, but not nearly as good as it's been in years past. They drop that game, and then they do drop the game in Happy Valley. Penn State owns Maryland, dominates Maryland. Last year, the Terrapins lost 51-15 to the Nittany Lions. They are 2-8, against Penn State since 2014, and they have lost the last 3 to Penn State by a combined score of 112 to 29. They really are no match for Penn State. Now in Happy Valley on their senior day with maybe a playoff berth on the line, they're not winning that one either. So Maryland, they take a bit of a step back. What else would you expect when you lose a generational quarterback like Taulia Tagovailoa? There are some winnable games on the schedule, sure. Maybe you think they can beat Indiana. Maybe you think they can beat Minnesota. Maybe you think they'll upset USC. There's a path there where they can win 7 games in the regular season, maybe 8 in the regular season. I think they fall short of that. It's natural to take a little bit of a step back, but regardless, Mike Locksley still doing great things with this program. We'll have them back in the postseason for a 4th straight year, and we'll have a shot to win this 4th straight bowl game and to clinch his 4th straight winning season. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at The Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to those expert picks, some of the best spread picks in the country, and our weekly newsletter, giving you all the extra analysis and updates that you could want throughout this season. So go check it out. The links to everything down in the description below. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.